chasing a Big Ten championship. And where it leads is Bloomington, Indiana for number 10 Iowa against the Hoosiers as we continue our doubleheader on BTN. We're in the final 2 weeks of the regular season, and these are the standings. If Iowa and Maryland both win out, they'll be co-champs. Indiana, meanwhile, has slid all the way down to 11, yet still just a few games out of 5th place. So that's the backdrop with Brenda Van Langen, Mike Monaco on hand, and let's get you the starting lineups. You may have heard about Megan Gustafson, but Indiana's hoping to keep Iowa's guards quiet. And speaking of guards, Brenda, Ali Patberg is back after missing 3 games with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, she went out in that Minnesota game, which Indiana lost, and have lost their last 3. They're looking forward to having her back. Their leading scorer in her 15 points a game. And as the point guard, she's tied for the lead in the league in assists per game. So important, everybody relieved to have her back on the court.
It's part of a 4-game losing skid for Indiana, during which Patberg was unavailable, injured just over 2 weeks ago here on this floor against Minnesota, dislocated that shoulder. And she knew that right at the moment that it was something she hadn't really felt before, and it was going to be tough to come back from.
She talked about the fact that whenever somebody goes down with an injury, her teammates are always all around. They weren't there for her, and she knew something was bad when she went down.
She was full go at practice the last couple days. She is raring to go, and what a test to welcome her back. Number 10 Iowa, Megan Gustafson, and the Hawkeyes, of course, who are coming off a huge win on Sunday over Maryland.
Yeah, they've won 5 in a row, got that big win at home against Maryland, and they have their sights on winning or sharing the Big Ten title. They've got to be strong here with this game on the road at Nebraska before they have Northwestern at home.
They, of course, are the most explosive offense in this conference, one of the most explosive in the country, and Megan Gustafson is the nation's leading scorer.
Well, she is so good around the rim, in the paint, but she can stretch it out as well, and when an opponent sees her hit those 18-feet shots, they just have to shake their head.
Brenna Wise answers back with a jump shot in the face of Gustafson against a zone from Iowa that Indiana was expecting to see.
That's a big shot for Indiana.
Mackenzie Meyer buries the 3. This is her 3rd game back after she missed a few with a knee injury.
Yeah, just 10 points against Illinois, 8 against Maryland. That's a good sign for the guards for Iowa surrounding Gustafson.
And a bad sign for Terry Morin, who said, we just hope that their guards don't shoot it as well, because we're not a team that just says, hey, let Megan Gustafson go get hers.
Yeah, they're gonna throw a lot of different looks at Gustafson.
Jalen Penn, talented sophomore, missed from 3.
Gustafson going up and grabbing that rebound, had 17 rebounds in that win over Maryland.
Posting up on Kim Royster on the block.
Royster trying to be physical, but Gustafson moving her way in, and then Doyle from the opposite baseline.
You can't drop a better start for Iowa. 3 of 3 shooting and a couple triples.
And back in this 2-3 zone, like you mentioned, it's going to be a little bit different than a lot of 2-3s. They're going to try to extend. They want to stop the dribble penetration for Indiana.
Meyer spots up and hits another.
And Mackenzie Meyer just turns and smiles and looks at Kathleen Doyle. Okay, I got my first, you got one, now I got one back, now it's your turn.
It's the worst nightmare for Terry Morin. She said it's the spot-up 3s that we're so worried about with Iowa.
Well, the fact that Gustafson is going to not only get her 27 points a game, but if you don't take care, she could go for 60. But you have to score with them, and that's what her priority is. To be able to play with Iowa, you have to score with them. Iowa averages 80 points per game, so it's going to be important for Indiana to be able to score on the other end.
They push tempo here with Patberg, thankfully for Hoosier fans, back at the controls. And the extra pass, gets it back, and she buries a deep one.
15 straight games in double figures. She's shooting over 34% from three-point range.
Kim Royster picks up the foul in the post.
Kicking out to Mackenzie Meyer. Just a little dribble penetration that time by Kathleen Doyle, and the smile for Meyer. She knows what it's like to miss a couple of games as well with injury and is glad to be back.
There's Lisa Bluter, who, as we told you already, that team has its sights set on a Big Ten championship. Tonight, Davis off the mark. And she met with her captains this morning, and she said, I want you guys to picture 3 games from now what it would be like to be potentially co-champions in the Big Ten. And then she brought them back in and said, all right, we've got to take it a game at a time to get there.
But acknowledging it, and that's smart because everybody's going to talk about it. Everybody is going to ask them about the Big Ten title potentially being out there. So she acknowledged it, but said, let's get focused.
Kathleen Doyle is one of those captains, and she scores on the drive to put the Hawkeyes up 6. Patberg, no. Offensive rebound from Lindsey Marchese. And then a foul call.
A nice screen by Wise to set up the jumper by Patberg to start that off. But good hustle, good positioning to get that rebound. Marchese doing her work to secure that board.
Some subs on both sides, just about 4 minutes in. Talked about Patberg being out. You saw Ben Duganey exit. She and Jalen Penn have played nearly every minute the last few games without Patberg. Patberg lost her footing and finds Wise. Double on Marchese. The sophomore post is bottled up. And a bump called along the sideline on Alexis Civilian.
Civilian kind of bailing out Indiana there because it was good double team on the block, and Indiana didn't have anything going offensively.
Indiana's most recently coming off a loss on Monday against Rutgers, and at times, you said there's some standing around against that Rutgers defense.
Yeah, I think that the zone defense that Rutgers put on Indiana really just forced them to stand around, and having Patberg back, there should be more movement, more dribble penetration, cutting, but you got to be appreciative of the way Marchese has come out and gotten on the boards here early for Indiana. If you miss that first shot, go get the second opportunity, and that's what Marchese has helped Indiana do a couple of times here.
Penn off the shot fake in the mid-range.
See, and that's what I think Indiana has to do. A dribble attack, get some movement. They're moving the ball back and forth, but there's no inside-out movement. There was no dribble penetration until that drive by Penn.
Yard showed she could shoot it from deep, and she got to the mid-range as well.
Man-to-man for Indiana.
Civilian took the bump. Now the shot clock below 10. Gustafson in the post. Over that right shoulder, no. But an offensive rebound by Amanda Ollinger. Civilian good from 3.
That's what Terry Morin told her team. You can't work so hard the entire defensive play and then give up an offensive rebound at the end.
If you're going to expend so much energy all week, really, against Megan Gustafson, that can be demoralizing.
Especially when Iowa follows up with a three-pointer.
Foul in the post goes on Lindsey Marchese, battling for positioning against Gustafson. Well, the Hawkeyes have hit 4 threes already, just 2 points from Gustafson, but it all adds up to a fast Iowa start.
app.
4 3-point makes already for Iowa beyond the arc, and a 7-point lead early on.
Well, they've moved the basketball well. They have been deadly from beyond the arc. Meyer with a couple of three-pointers, and then this one came off the offensive rebound on the second opportunity.
16-9, the lead early on for the Hawkeyes here on the road against the Hoosiers, as we welcome you back to Assembly Hall with Brenda Van Langen, Mike Monaco on hand. And for Iowa, they're on the heels of what was a huge win on Sunday against Maryland, trying to take this program where it hasn't been in a while.
It's a great opportunity for Iowa. They played so well over the last 5 games, put up big numbers, and when we talk to Lisa Bluder about what's been going on lately with this team, what she's really pleased about in the last 5 games, besides what Megan Gustafson is doing, it's the guards and the players around her recognizing when their opportunities are. And that's what, to me, this start is all about tonight. When open opportunities are there from three-point range, those guards have the ability to hit those shots. That takes the defense away from Megan Gustafson. Like, who are you going to defend?
So how do you try to defend that when we've seen Doyle and Meyer get going from beyond the arc, and you bring Civilian off the bench, and we haven't even mentioned Tania Davis yet, when all those pieces are around Gustafson?
So I think that makes Lisa Bluder's team an awfully tough team to defend. When Megan Gustafson is shooting 70% in the paint, can score pretty much every time she touches it, and then if you've got the guards around her and Hannah Stewart as well shooting from the perimeter, you've got to be able to score a lot of points to be able to hang with Iowa.
Hannah Stewart is another one of the starters, another scoring weapon, and she's got the offensive rebound.
So they haven't missed much, Iowa, but they already have a couple of offensive rebounds on their misses.
Davis, a high arcing 3, and that is 5 this quarter for Iowa.
And Terry Morin just drops her shoulders like, who are you going to defend? They're keeping it away. Gustafson hasn't had many touches in the early going, but Iowa red hot from beyond the arc.
Penn with a no-look pass that she sails by Brenna Wise, and it's turnover number 3 for the Hoosiers.
Using the screen from Hannah Stewart, you see the defenders going under the screen. They're trying to clog it in. They're trying to bring activity around Megan Gustafson so she just can have free reign inside, and it's opening up the three-point shooting for Iowa. And you have to pick your poison. Which one are you going to defend? Right now they're giving up the 3, and Iowa's taking advantage.
Well, someone else gets involved with the scoring. This time it's Hannah Stewart. So now 6 different Hawkeyes have scored.
They have distributed the basketball, and everybody taking advantage of their time, their opportunity.
Alexa Goulbe can't stop what is an 8-0 run for the Hawkeyes. Gustafson at 31 and 17 against Maryland, but she gets tied up, and it will stay at this end of the floor.
Pat Berg shows some emotion there as Indiana is planning when Megan Gustafson has the ball in her hands to dive people at her. If she puts the ball on the floor, they're going to try to go in and steal it and try to disrupt the leading scorer in the nation. There they do it right there, but Iowa's quick hands gets it back.
Shot clock at 3. Doyle along 2, too strong, and the rebound to Penn. Indiana has dropped 6 of its last 7. And Penn missed it, and the Hawkeyes are running.
Stewart had position early inside. They didn't deliver, but Kathleen Doyle continues the red-hot shooting from outside.
6 threes this quarter. If there was any doubt about Iowa coming off such a momentous win on Sunday, they have erased that right now.
Well, and that's what we asked Lisa Bluder, if this team is feeling pressure at all. And she says, and that's not going to count, unfortunately, for Iowa, as everything seems to be dropping in, even off the shot clock. But We asked if this team feels any pressure, and she said no. With the veterans that we have, they know how to concentrate on the next thing. And we certainly see that in them tonight, the way they're playing, being singularly focused on what they need to do.
But I like your point that you mentioned earlier, that it's refreshing to hear that Iowa has acknowledged and took the time with its captains this morning to at least address, hey, what's at the end? This is what it could be.
They know what's out in front of them.
Well, they are out in front of Indiana by 15. Stewart can't add to it. It's an 11-0 run.
As red hot as Iowa has been, Indiana needs to try to take a breath. They need to attack this zone off the dribble. Look for those kick-out shooters. That's what Lisa Bluder was concerned about defensively. Indiana needs more of that kind of action right there.
Second triple for the Hoosiers. This one from Brenna Wise. Shot clock at 8. Civilian spots up. Wise the rebound with 20 left in the quarter. Five seconds for Grace Berger, the freshman. She turns the corner. And that will do it for a first quarter in which Iowa knocks down 6 threes. And Lisa Bluder's team is off and running on the road with that new number 10 ranking. Everything coming up Hawkeyes so far from Assembly Hall. Back with the second quarter after this. 4 3-point makes already for Iowa beyond the arc and a 7-point lead early on.
Well, they've moved the basketball well. They have been deadly from beyond the arc. Meyer with a couple of three-pointers, and then this one came off the offensive rebound on the second opportunity.
16-9, the lead early on for the Hawkeyes here on the road against the Hoosiers as we welcome you back to Assembly Hall with Brenda Van Langen, Mike Monaco on hand. And for Iowa, they're on the heels of what was a huge win on Sunday against Maryland, trying to take this program where it hasn't been in a while.
It's a great opportunity for Iowa. They played so well over the last 5 games, put up big numbers, and when we talk to Lisa Bluder about what's been going on lately with this team, what she's really pleased about in the last 5 games, besides what Megan Gustafson is doing, it's the guards and the players around her recognizing when their opportunities are. And that's what, to me, this start is all about tonight. When open opportunities are there from three-point range, those guards have the ability to hit those shots. That takes the defense away from Megan Gustafson. Like, who are you going to defend?
So how do you try to defend that when we've seen Doyle and Meyer get going from beyond the arc, and you bring Civilian off the bench, and we haven't even mentioned Tania Davis yet, when all those pieces are around Gustafson?
So I think that makes Lisa Bluder's team an awfully tough team to defend. When Megan Gustafson is shooting 70% in the paint, can score pretty much every time she touches it, and then if you've got the guards around her and Hannah Stewart as well shooting from the perimeter, you've got to be able to score a lot of points to be able to hang with Iowa.
Hannah Stewart is another one of the starters, another scoring weapon, and she's got the offensive rebound.
So they haven't missed much, Iowa, but they already have a couple of offensive rebounds on their misses.
Davis, a high arcing 3, and that is 5 this quarter for Iowa.
And Terry Morin just drops her shoulders like, who are you going to defend? They're keeping it away. Gustafson hasn't had many touches in the early going, but Iowa red hot from beyond the arc.
Penn with a no-look pass that she sails by Brenna Wise, and it's turnover number 3 for the Hoosiers.
Using the screen from Hannah Stewart, you see the defenders going under the screen. They're trying to clog it in. They're trying to bring activity around Megan Gustafson so she just can have free reign inside, and it's opening up the three-point shooting for Iowa. And you have to pick your poison. Which one are you going to defend? Right now they're giving up the 3, and Iowa's taking advantage.
Well, someone else gets involved with the scoring. This time it's Hannah Stewart. So now 6 different Hawkeyes have scored.
They have distributed the basketball, and everybody taking advantage of their time, their opportunity.
Alexa Goulbe can't stop what is an 8-0 run for the Hawkeyes. Gustafson at 31 and 17 against Maryland, but she gets tied up, and it will stay at this end of the floor.
Pat Berg shows some emotion there as Indiana is planning when Megan Gustafson has the ball in her hands to dive people at her. If she puts the ball on the floor, they're going to try to go in and steal it and try to disrupt the leading scorer in the nation. There they do it right there, but Iowa's quick hands gets it back.
Shot clock at 3. Doyle along 2, too strong, and the rebound to Penn. Indiana has dropped 6 of its last 7. And Penn missed it, and the Hawkeyes are running.
Stewart had position early inside. They didn't deliver, but Kathleen Doyle continues the red-hot shooting from outside.
6 threes this quarter. If there was any doubt about Iowa coming off such a momentous win on Sunday, they have erased that right now.
Well, and that's what we asked Lisa Bluder, if this team is feeling pressure at all. And she says, that's not going to count, unfortunately, for Iowa, as everything seems to be dropping in, even off the shot clock. But we asked if this team feels any pressure, and she said, no, with the veterans that we have, they know how to concentrate on the next thing. And we certainly see that in them in them tonight, the way they're playing, being singularly focused on what they need to do.
But I like your point that you mentioned earlier, that it's refreshing to hear that Iowa has acknowledged and took the time with its captains this morning to at least address, hey, what's at the end? This is what it could be.
You know what's out in front of them.
Well, they are out in front of Indiana by 15. Stewart can't add to it. It's an 11-0 run.
As red hot as Iowa has been, Indiana needs to try to take a breath. They need to attack this zone off the dribble. Look for those kick-out shooters. That's what Lisa Bluder was concerned about defensively. Indiana needs more of that kind of action right there.
Second triple for the Hoosiers. This one from Brenna Wise. Shot clock at 8. Civilian spots up. Wise the rebound with 20 left in the quarter. Five seconds for Grace Berger, the freshman. She turns the corner. And that will do it for a first quarter in which Iowa knocks down 6 threes. And Lisa Bluder's team is off and running on the road with that new number 10 ranking. Everything coming up Hawkeyes so far from Assembly Hall. Back with the second quarter after this. Basketball on BTN is brought to you by State Farm. Here to help life go right. Talk to a State Farm agent today. We're inside Assembly Hall in Bloomington, Indiana after the first quarter in which number 10 Iowa doubled up Indiana. And that's a new number 10 ranking for the Hawkeyes and the first time they've been in the top 10 since, as Megan Gustafson put it this week, the year she was born back in '96.
Yeah, just remarkable the year that Lisa Bluder and this Iowa Hawkeye team having the chemistry of this team where they're at in the Big Ten, how many consecutive wins? 8 RPI right now. And the fact that this team averages in Big Ten play 5 3-pointers made per game, and they've already made 6 here in the first quarter. They have the ability to do that. They pounded into Megan Gustafson typically, but these guards have the ability to make those threes, and they're taking advantage today.
Bendu Yaney picks off the pass from Kathleen Doyle. It's the second Hawkeyes turnover.
Can Indiana chip away here in the second quarter? A red-hot Hawkeye team in the first quarter. But can they break down the zone defense a little more efficiently here in the second?
Pat Bird, and in her first game back, she gets the roll and her first points since returning.
Yeah, dribble penetration through the top of the zone. Take it at the heart of the defense. If they don't defend, you go up and shoot. If they do, kick out and find shooters around.
The terms that Terry Morin has used for this current tailspin for the Hoosiers, we are desperate for a win. We are starving for a win, and that's something Allie Patberg said to us today at Tuesday.
And she felt so helpless on the bench over the last 3.5, almost 4 whole games, and wanted to get out there and help the team win.
Quick passing around the zone, and Patberg just missed the three.
Good look at it, though. Penetrating the zone with that pass to the high post. The nice kick out set up a good look at a shot.
Foul in the post is on Megan Gustafson, her first.
Marchese was making it difficult for Gustafson, and she gets called for a little push-off inside. She goes in and just backs up. Marchese displaces her defensively. See that called very often on Gustafson.
27 points a game, 13 rebounds a game, and 70% field goal shooting. But as you see, just 2 points so far. And still a 10-point deficit for the Hoosiers. The Hoosiers have been good on the offensive glass so far, and Brenna Wise has 7 points.
Marchese is averaging 1 rebound per game, and she has been in there mixing it up on the offensive boards tonight.
Gustafson right on cue with a chance at 3.
She was bottled up in the first quarter against Maryland and ended up finishing that game with over 30 points. And that was the kind of reaction you saw late in the game. Like, she was maybe contained a little bit in the first quarter, but came back strong. And she has such great reactions after her shots, doesn't she? It's fun to watch her.
The term in the business is an ISO camera, and you can just keep it on Megan Gustafson at all times for how she reacts. That foul's on Alexa Goulet for the Hoosiers.
I said over 30 points for Megan Gustafson. It was 37 to go along with 17 rebounds in that win over Maryland.
How about Bendu Yaney's block on Kathleen Doyle?
Good defense. They want to keep, Indiana wants to keep Iowa shooting from the perimeter if they can.
Tips it back out to Patberg. Her floater does not roll down. And a foul on the floor. And again, forced by how hard Indiana is crashing the offensive glass.
Indiana playing with a lot of fire right now. They're taking offense to the fact that Iowa has come on their court and made all these shots in the early going. So they are crashing the boards, winning the hustle plays, and going to give themselves an opportunity here.
Wise off the baseline, out of bounds. That was the look the Hoosiers wanted. Into the post. Stewart, the quick turn and 2.
I'll talk about how efficient Megan Gustafson is, but the fact that Hannah Stewart shoots 57%, pretty impressive.
Wise comes up empty. Yeah, Lisa Bluter said that she had this conversation with Hannah Stewart. Everyone says you're so lucky to be playing with Megan Gustafson, and what Lisa Bluter said to her senior captain in Hannah Stewart, Megan is lucky to be playing with you.
And that's because she's unselfish, but she's also a highly efficient shooter, Hannah Stewart. To be able to have a cohort that makes 57% from the field, Megan Gustafson knows that she can deliver the ball to Stewart if she needs to.
Gustafson delivered it that time to Tania Davis, but she missed the reverse. Goulet, the very talented freshman who's got a high ceiling, drew back iron.
Made a great move to get that shot, just couldn't finish.
Gustafson. Pointers for Davis to find Meyer up top. And on the rebounding action, the foul goes against the Hawkeyes and Hannah Stewart.
Yeah, if you get a chance to just watch Megan Gustafson operate off the basketball, she's constantly using her footwork to position herself. She is pointing to the guards where to pass it so that she can seal and be in position for the passes. She's going to take a little break right now.
Coming into tonight, she hadn't had a turnover in her last 3 games.
That's remarkable when you think how often she is double and triple teamed to take care of the basketball that well.
And Royster back in the game, set the ball screen for Allie Patford. Tiana Worthen, too strong again, not known for her three-point shooting. Civilian. Rounded out, rebound to Penn. Offensive foul.
Penn going to try to make something happen. There was where they didn't have numbers. It was a 3-on-3 break, and Penn puts the ball down on the floor, and then just a little push off there. Tania Davis is so good at moving her feet, being in legal guarding position, just being pesky defensively, and Penn ends up getting the foul, pushing her off.
We knew we'd see some of this full court pressure from Indiana, and it prompts a turnover.
Indiana does not press a lot. They've had some success with it against Michigan in their win over Michigan earlier this year. They thought that they could spring it out from time to time today.
Good post passing, and Royster missed it.
Boy, good look inside for Royster, too.
The Hoosiers are now just one of their last 11 from the floor. Monica Sinano, the freshman post player, missed it with the right hand.
Well, the good thing for Indiana right now, even though they're not shooting well, they get that one. They have been getting some defensive stops and turning the Hawkeyes over.
How smooth is Jalen Penn? She stops the scoring drought that had increased above 3 minutes.
And she made a better decision than the last time when she'd gotten the offensive foul against Davis.
Doyle drives it at Patford. And a foul called. Well, Jalen Penn is smooth for the Hoosiers. She's trying to lead Indiana back down by 10.
Well, she goes in transition. Nice little step around move to draw the Hoosiers within 10.
Number 10, Iowa leads by 10 here at Assembly Hall on the road against the Hoosiers. And again, Iowa's coming off a big win on Sunday against Maryland back in Iowa City. Well, the Terps today, they're still ranked in the top 10 as well. They're number 8 in the country. They're at home. It is early on in the fourth quarter with 8 to go. But they're down 8 against Minnesota and Lindsay Whalen's team that has been red hot.
Yeah, surging Minnesota team right now. And to go on the road to Maryland, that could really shake things up here. It's just still amazing to me, the logjam in the middle. Yes, Iowa, Maryland at the top, tied right now with the 3 games to go. But the fact that Indiana is just a couple of games away from being in 5th position and they're in 11th shows what a logjam that is in the middle.
There's at least one surprising result, it seems, every single night. Maybe at this point in the season, it shouldn't be surprising.
Right. There aren't really any surprising ones, right?
Doyle. Well, Ohio State won at Michigan State today, so how about Ohio State? They're at 9-7, and Michigan State falls at home for the first time in more than a year.
Remarkable what Ohio State has done with all that they graduated last year.
That is a massive 3 for Allie Patford. Indiana had been 2 of 11 from deep.
Iowa has only scored 4 points here in the second quarter after scoring 24 in the first.
Gustafson is a good remedy for them.
Yeah, exactly. When you want to score, you get it to the best scorer in the nation.
Ube, she can step out. Way off target.
Well, out of the timeout, the 2 leading scorers on these teams hit their shots. Patberg off the pass to the corner, and then Gustafson. Look at the position inside and how quickly she turns and gets that shot up.
She's running in transition, off the press break, missed the shot. And it's back to the Hoosiers.
And Megan Gustafson, and nobody can believe that she missed the layup with her strong hand. In transition, it was right in rhythm, exactly what she would want. You could tell she's upset with herself that she would miss that shot.
The Indiana assistant coaches were yelling at shoot-around today when they practiced that zone press was someone's got to account for Gustafson running up the floor.
And it's hard because she runs the floor so well. You give her that opportunity to be one-on-one with the back person in the zone. That's a hard cover.
Gustafson and the foul.
Again, Megan Gustafson working so hard for position in the paint. The perimeter players have cooled down a little bit for Iowa, so where are you going to go? Great position, good footwork, leans in, draws the foul, and just turns tough. Not sure that she got bumped that hard to go to the ground, but she was working hard to get that ball up off the backboard.
She's just a master of movement. Everything is so efficient in the post. Wise rises. The side of the rim, Yaney the offensive rebound. Back out Wise, along two is good.
Well, fist pump for Wise. She's had an early three and then has been cold since then. That's a good step-in shot off the offensive rebound.
Foul goes on Alexa Goulet. That will mean free throws here for the Hawkeyes in the 2:26 headed to halftime. It's 2 fouls on Goulet, 2 on Royster, and 3 on Marchese. Hey, coming up, the Big Show recaps the entire night in the conference. Highlights, post-game interviews, in-depth expert analysis. The Big Show presented by CDW after the game right here on BTN.
It's hard to defend Gustafson, and she has fouled a lot of players out in that Maryland game. Fouled out both Charles and Fraser. Just difficult with how well she moves and how quickly she gets her shot up.
And she hardly misses free throws.
Right. And 91% in their 5-game win streak.
Patberg created some space. Left it short, and it's back to Iowa. Indiana is in dire need of a win. They would love to keep trimming this deficit headed to halftime.
Well, and that's where they were holding Iowa to only 4 points before the first media timeout. But then Iowa started going to Gustafson, and that's where you would expect them to go. But if Indiana can shave it back to single digits here before halftime, that's where they want to be. Try to close in, get some stops here before the break.
Shot clock at 2. Doyle falling away, hits.
Nice use of the ball screen by Doyle. So active, such good footwork.
Doyle's into double figures now with 10, joining Gustafson. Yaney on the step, blocked by Gustafson. And back to Iowa.
Gustafson not only blocked the shot, but she blocked it off Yaney. Yaney trying to recover at the block. Touches it last.
And then Iowa turns it over against Indiana's pressure. Lisa Bluter trying to determine how to attack Indiana's full-court press.
A few unforced turnovers from Iowa in the full court. Their zone defense has been effective.
Low, Royster.
Better patient that time by Royster. She rushed a shot earlier when she had an even cleaner look than that one.
Gustafson says, why not? She draws back iron. Royster the rebound. 8-second difference between game and shot clocks. Out of the horns look. Berger gets it to go.
Good possession for Indiana. Good ball movement. Use dribble penetration to break down the zone.
Penn commits the foul, and that will result in free throws.
But Penn just cleared out Doyle. That was a tough collision. Good to see Doyle hop back up. Penn, you can see from the backside trying to come through the ball and got a lot of Doyle. Iowa does that so well. They advance the ball up the sideline quickly. It helps them to get the ball to Gustafson or find threes in transition. Penn trying not to allow them to advance so quickly, but commits the foul.
Penn is now one of 4 different Hoosiers with at least 2 fouls. Doyle has now hit 14 consecutive free throws. Berger 3. Yes! Good if it goes. So Indiana does trim it to single digits. Ali Patberg is back, and the Hoosiers are within 8.
Good second quarter for Indiana. Better defense than the first. More energy. They got on the offensive boards, and they trimmed the lead.
Number 10, Iowa on the road with just a few games left in the regular season. We'll get you back to our Chicago studios with Elise Menaker and Brooke Weisbrod. I don't know what Iowa does to teams. They make you dizzy trying to defend them. They're up by 8 against the Hoosiers here at Assembly Hall with Brenda Van Langen, Mike Monaco on hand. And it looked like Iowa might run away with things in the first half. They led by as many as 15. But Indiana got back into it.
Yeah, we saw the good three-point shooting early from Iowa. Then they went to Megan Gustafson in the second quarter. But Indiana got on the offensive boards. They forced a couple of turnovers. They were very aggressive, and I thought Patberg did a nice job of being aggressive with her shot and made a difference, drew them within single digits.
Iowa was excellent from beyond the arc, shooting the 3 in that first quarter, and that set the difference. That built the big lead.
Yeah, they were able to hit 6 three-pointers in the first quarter of play, spreading it around the various guards. Davis finishing it off, and it just got things going. And when Indiana had to figure out how to defend the perimeter players, Gustafson took over inside. But Patberg, in her first game back after the shoulder injury, has made some nice plays, especially right there at the end of the second quarter to give them some momentum going into the halftime locker room. One
of the best guard performances so far on this floor. And then Kathleen Doyle as well. She's got a team-high 12, and she has shared it as Iowa always does.
And she has been aggressive. Kathleen Doyle hit the shots from the perimeter, has moved the basketball well. And even though Indiana was able to close within single digits, Iowa playing with a lot of confidence in that first half.
The Hawkeyes number 10 in the country for the first time since 1996. 12-3, tied at the top of the Big Ten standings at the start of the night, and up by 8 as we start quarter number 3 in Bloomington.
See if Indiana can ride that momentum that Patberg was able to build at the end of the second quarter.
Penn misses the shot, but as Indiana did in the first half, an offensive rebound. Wow.
You got to take advantage of opportunities. If you're going to knock off a team that's playing as well as Iowa, you've got to come out and hit your shots at timely times. That first possession of the quarter, here an opportunity. They get a stop defensively, need to come down and try to find a way to score.
Kathleen Doyle just picked up her first foul. So we've talked about what's at stake for Iowa. Tied with Maryland at the top of the Big Ten. And things look pretty ominous. You heard Elise and Brooke talking about the hole that Maryland was in. We just got word that Maryland has won at home on a buzzer beater from Kyla Charles to stay alive in this Big Ten title race.
Wow, that's huge for them. And now Indiana going to put a little pressure on Iowa. Minnesota put the pressure on Maryland the entire game. Had a double-digit lead. Maryland comes back to win. Can Indiana give Iowa some problems here?
Stewart turns to the left hand, and she's got a chance at 3.
Good, aggressive, high-low pass to set up Stewart. Stewart just posts up, Yaney inside, and you see the flex by Doyle, knowing that's a power move, a very skillful, powerful move by Hannah Stewart.
All you need to know about Hannah Stewart is she's a first-year starter, but a second-year captain on this team.
She has contributed in so many ways off the bench most of her career as really a great compliment to Megan Gustafson this year and this her senior season.
Indiana continues to try to solve the zone, but Penn turned it over. Doyle races up court. Davis finds it in her lap.
Oh, what a pass by Doyle to get it into the hands of Davis. Not sure she meant to do that or not, but it found its way into the hands of Davis because Doyle was in a lot of traffic.
Davis was still looking up the court as if to say, what just happened there?
That defense has been good for Iowa, not allowing the dribble penetration.
Davis on the receiving end from Doyle.
Using defense to ignite the offense.
Terry Morin was so worried about transition defense, and in particular, Tania Davis and the hit-aheads when she gets out ahead of the pack.
She is so good at recognizing she's probably not going to get a rebound, so she might as well leak out and hustle down the court as quickly as she can. Last time it was off a steal.
Patberg. Royster battled on the offensive glass, and it does stay at this end. Well, this one is our State Farm assist of the game off the first of those steals from Doyle.
In traffic, and she just dropped it off, knowing that she was surrounded. Well, no look, because she thought she was going to get pounded herself and just dropped it off for Tania Davis to score.
That's a dish and a duck, just trying to get out of the way, too.
Those two at the top of the zone, Kathleen Doyle and Tania Davis, have been disruptive at the top of the 2-3 zone and have ignited a couple of breaks already here in the third quarter.
Doyle has 7 assists total and 3 already, not even in 3 full minutes out of halftime. Wise. Off a good find from Berger now. Fire off the shot fake. Blocking foul.
What a quick move by Mackenzie Meyer as she got the ball up in front. And you see that Wise, the crowd here thinks she got there early enough, but she really did not have her feet set in legal guarding position before Meyer went up into her shot.
Terry Morin is trying to direct Mike McConnell to the large video board.
Say, take a look up there. This is what I saw on that.
It's obviously outside of the arc.
Well, she's outside of the arc, and that's true. But I think Mackenzie Meyer was up into her shot motion before the defender was in legal guarding position. Before Wise was there and had her feet set.
Well, Meyer did miss one of them. She had made 46 consecutive free throws. We are pleased to say we didn't jinx it.
We didn't say it ahead of time. That's right. Just reporting after the fact.
Yaney on the scoop. Draws a foul. Some solace for Terry Morin.
Yaney has been good as of late. She had 16 points to lead the team against Rutgers. Had to take over a lot of the point guard responsibilities. She and Grace Berger, when Patberg was out. Yaney's been in double figures 8 of the last 4 games.
Played all but 1 minute the last 2 games coming into tonight because of the Ali Patberg injury. And she was very quick to say after Monday's game that fatigue is not a part of what's going on with this team. She is used to playing heavy minutes. Olinger from Davis.
Beautiful look from Davis. Good read of the situation, seeing that two defenders were around Gustafson, and Olinger was wide open.
Berger behind the back to Marchese. Foul called on the block on Bendu Yaney.
That last pass where Gustafson is being surrounded, and that allowed Olinger to be open on the backside. You see Yaney comes over to help on Gustafson, and that's good heads-up play. And you know every guard for Iowa knows to look for the double team, because if two players are on Gustafson, somebody's open.
Yeah, and Yaney in that case was really the third paying attention to Gustafson. Berger left open. Indiana is just 5 of 21 from beyond the arc. Gustafson bowling away off the glass.
What a tough shot. I know she can shoot and score from so many different angles, but she was leaning sideways away from the basket scoring that one.
Surprise, another double-double for Megan Gustafson. Wise responds with a triple, and a quick timeout, Terry Morin. There have been some timely threes for the Hoosiers the last 2 quarters, trying to hang around against the Hawkeyes. Well, about 20 minutes ago, it looked like a win for Iowa tonight would plant them perhaps in sole possession of first place in the Big Ten, but the Maryland Terrapins scored 9 straight points in the last 50 seconds at home. They stun Minnesota and win it on this.
On the turnover, the drive to the rim at the buzzer.
Are you kidding me, Kyla Charles and the Terps, when it looked as if they might fall to Minnesota, a team that had won 6 straight games? Brendan Free says no, and the Terps, for now, a half game ahead of Iowa.
And able to force the critical turnover in that last possession to give them that opportunity.
Iowa hasn't won a Big Ten championship since 2008. They shared the regular season title that year. They won the Big Ten tournament in 2001. Back in '98, they had a regular season crown as well. Civilian short. Gustafson the offensive rebound.
A nice pin on the backside by Gustafson.
Blocking foul called on Doyle's drive. Iowa, with its sights set on a Big Ten crown these last couple weeks, leads by 13. Coverage of the 2019 Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament from Indianapolis starts on March 6th right here on BTN and the Fox Sports app, just an hour or so northeast of where we are here in Bloomington. And this is what the tournament would look like right now at this moment. So we just showed you that Maryland won. So for now, they are a half game ahead of Iowa, but the Hawkeyes with the tiebreaker on Maryland.
Yeah, with the tiebreaker, with the win on Sunday. So if Iowa wins today, that gives them the #1 seed. But this is all still fluid. It's amazing to me how much this could change just in these last few games.
We've had some upheaval tonight. We almost saw Minnesota get another win. They're riding a 7-game, had been riding a 6-game winning streak, and then Michigan picked off Rutgers. So it is 7 wins in a row for the Wolverines and a loss for Rutgers after winning here in this arena on Monday.
You know, Michigan got a win against Iowa, and Lisa Bluter really credits that loss for giving extra focus to this Iowa team. They have not lost since then. And really, she said, they have come together with a singular focus since that loss.
And you asked her what has been so good about the winning streak since then, is Wise hits the elbow jumper. And it's a lot of what we talked about in the first half, the diversity from the guards. This time Gustafson on the inside.
Well, you know you're going to get your points from Gustafson. She's just practically unstoppable. And I heard Brooke Weisbrod talk about it at halftime, whether it's early in the shot clock or late, or in the middle, whatever they choose, they can get those shots. But when the guards are open and have the opportunities, they need to hit shots. They did that to open the game today, and that's one of the things Lisa Bluder's been pleased about, is the guards and Hannah Stewart making the decisions when to take advantage of their opportunities with all the different defenses Megan Gustafson is seeing inside.
14-point game. Iowa's lead has been as large as 16 tonight. Wise. Too strong this time, but she's been good. She's got a team-high 14. Gustafson on the block. Passes out of the post. Doyle does not get the roll. She does pick off the pass.
Doyle, the most energized, energetic, focused defensive player on this team. She picks up the defensive intensity.
Gustafson draws a foul, and it is on the floor.
Indiana wanting to pack it around Gustafson as she goes to spin. You saw Penn reach in and try to grab the ball. They're trying to come at Megan Gustafson at different times, so it's unpredictable. So whether it's on the dribble or whether it's on the turn, somebody is going to come in and attack the ball. They don't want to commit the fouls. This is not what Terry Morin wants, but she wants them to be very aggressive in attacking the ball when Gustafson goes to make the move.
Gustafson has missed 3 free throws tonight.
Very unusual.
Patberg lines it up from deep. That was part of what Terry Morin was so excited to have return tonight. Not just getting her point guard back, but an outside shooting threat.
Well, she's a leading scorer on the team with 15 points a game.
That rolls out. Penn saves it on the baseline. Extra pass to Patberg.
And Patberg is being very vocal right now, directing Penn where to pass the ball, directing which player is Marchese there to set the screen.
Doyle got it hard. Patberg hits another.
And Doyle holding her head as she ran right into the screen, and I think was knocked hard to the ground.
It started with Jalen Penn rescuing this on the baseline, and it ends up an Allie Patberg 3.
Well, Penn with a hustle play, reaching in, somehow able to save it before she falls over the baseline. And then Patberg setting up the screen. You see, it was just a sandwich around Doyle, and as she tried to hustle to defend Patberg, she ran hard into the screen and went crumpled to the floor. You can really see Patberg's influence on this team right now. Not just her scoring, but her passing, her directing the offense, getting the players in the position that they need to be. Indiana has some big wins this year. They have 4 wins over top 50 RPI teams, and they've stumbled as of late, and 4 of those games they did not have the services of their leading scorer and point guard, Patberg. But now with her back, they need to get a win. They need to come back and get another big victory here, and they are scratching and clawing to try to upset Iowa tonight.
We've chatted with Allie Patberg a few times this year, and she's fairly soft-spoken in volume, but boy, doesn't she look fiery tonight for them?
And you can tell she has a fierce competitiveness when you talk to her. It may come out as soft-spoken. She doesn't speak loudly, but she has a fierceness about her, an edge, a winner's mentality.
He has directed what is a 6-0 run for Indiana to get within 9. Berger in the mid-range.
Some nifty ball handling there behind her back and just using the ball screen there, taking her time until she got the look she wanted.
As energized as the crowd has been tonight. Stewart, shut off by Penn. Doyle on the drop. Can't stop the run.
Good defense by Indiana. Did a nice job of keeping Iowa in front.
Pat Berg out to Berger.
The initial look was not there. Good not to force, and Pat Berg's influence again. Getting everybody calmed down, set up, looking over at Coach Moore.
Berger does not get the roll. And here come the Hawkeyes. Gustafson high-low. Pat Berg with a help side, and it's back to the Hoosiers. Royster's been quiet tonight for the Hoosiers. The senior lines one up.
Iowa went into a little jump defense that time, and that's a shot they're typically going to give up, but Royster confidently knocking down a perimeter jumper.
Foul called away from the ball on Alexa Gulbe. So it's 2 free throws for the Hawkeyes.
Royster not being defended, a big cushion out there, which typically is going to be a good decision, and Royster makes him pay.
Was face guarding on Pat Berg, right?
And they were chasing around Penn as well.
Well, in her last 5 games, Megan Gustafson was 32 of 35 at the free throw line. Just 3 misses the last 5 games coming in. She's 3 of 7 at the stripe tonight. And splits.
Some chinks in the armor for Iowa after that blazing hot first quarter.
You joined us late. Iowa hit 6 threes in the first quarter and led by 12 after the first 10 minutes. Ball screens for Pat Berg. Back out wide. Wouldn't have counted anyway from Doyle. And all the momentum belongs to the Hoosiers headed to the 4th.
The Hoosiers have been moving the basketball, sharing the basketball. Their defense has gotten some key stops, and they have hit some big baskets. Wise with the big three-pointer to end the third.
Stormed their way into the 4th quarter. They knocked down 5 triples in that third, and it's now just a 3-point deficit.
Playing with a lot of energy right now, Indiana. Getting things going offensively. So much of it, Allie Pat Berg back on the court, back leading the team for Indiana. She hit the shots, and then she set up that last shot from Brenna Wise to beat the third quarter buzzer.
Pat Berg and the Hoosiers have dropped 4 straight and 6 out of 7. And all they had to face tonight was number 10 in the country. And number 10 for Iowa called for an offensive foul and showing signs of frustration.
Gustafson was immediately double-teamed, but watch as she leads with her elbow and gets the foul called because of that. She turned to Tina Napier and said, "What did I do?" But she cleared out with that elbow and forearm to commit the foul.
Saw 3 on Gustafson.
Marchese being very physical out front, but Doyle, like she did early in the third quarter with a steal and score in transition. That's what got Iowa started to expand their lead at the beginning of the third, but then Indiana calmed down, moved the ball against the different zones, and defensive looks for Iowa found a way to score.
Wise, flash, get the roll.
So we've seen Iowa in a 2-3 zone most of the time, but they went to a junk one time. They went to a man or a player, as they call it, late, and that's where Indiana was able to pick them apart and score those last few possessions. big possession here for Iowa.
Pick and roll. Stewart slid it to Gustafson, who lays it in.
Big pass from Hannah Stewart. Aggressively attacking inside. Doyle puts pressure on the defense off the pick and roll. Stewart gets it and sees Gustafson and slides it over to her.
Patented Megan Gustafson reaction as well.
Well, they needed that. Iowa needed that in that possession big time. Indiana had closed to within 3. Can they answer back now?
Penn cannot.
This Iowa team is a veteran team. They have seen a lot this year. Now being on the road, being tested, is this one of those times when the veterans can hang on? But Wise with a great steal there.
She draws a foul. Stewart did not want the pass. She was telling her guard, don't give it to me. Got the pass anyway. Wise got the steal.
So I'm making the point that the veterans for Iowa here have a chance to just take care of the basketball, but when you're being countered with energy and passion and a will to win this game, Indiana is keeping themselves within striking distance because of the energy with which they're playing right now.
Brenna Wise is the best free throw shooter in the conference and one of the best in the country. Gustafson through a double team. Who's it off of? And it stays at this end. Last touch by Indiana.
2-3 zone that time for Indiana as they doubled Gustafson. She tries to get it over to Stewart. Boy, does that go off Patberg or does that go off Stewart? They're saying off Patberg.
It does keep it with the Hawkeyes. Up by 4. Doyle. Berger to the rebound. Berger. Blocked by Gustafson and a foul. Four fouls on Megan Gustafson.
And again, the energy, the aggression with which Indiana is playing. That time, Berger puts the ball on the floor and attacks the back line. So Gustafson will have to go to the bench with 7:43 remaining. And what a gutsy play for the freshman to attack Gustafson inside.
She was trying to give it up in the press break, and in the end, she never gave it up.
Nobody stopped her.
Monica Czinano's looking for where to go. Doyle doing it herself. Last touch by the Hawkeyes.
Well, Kathleen Doyle had to force it. There were 2 or 3 defenders in front of her as she took it into the zone. No need to force it. Just move the basketball.
There was some confusion from the freshman Monica Czinano, who had checked in to replace Gustafson. Royster hit one from right there in the third quarter. Foul in the post on Mackenzie Meyer.
Man-to-man, Meyer was chasing Patberg around and really face guarding her. The others appeared to be also in a man, but not defending in that way. And boy, Meyer gets called for the foul there. I didn't see the foul.
Penn.
Tied it up. What a second half for Indiana as they are the team that's been red hot from three-point range. It was Iowa to start the game. It's been Indiana here in the second half.
Doyle will head to the free throw line. Jalen Penn has hit countless big threes in her brief career in Bloomington.
And the rotation not quick enough by Mackenzie Meyer, as she had to defend both players, the one on the wing and as well as Penn on the baseline. Couldn't get there quickly enough.
Did it against Michigan State. She did it against UCLA, and Penn came through with another big one here in the fourth. Doyle good on both. Indiana has not led tonight. Illegal screen set by Brenna Wise.
Iowa had shifted back to their 2-3 zone. Wise was trying to screen the top of the zone. You don't have the same angle that the official that called that. It looked like Wise just went into position and set the screen.
Terry Morin trying to clap her team's way to a stop here.
Here's that extended pressure.
Patberg reached in from behind. She picks up the foul, and that's her second.
We had a chance to talk to Patberg today at shoot-around. She said it was so frustrating sitting on the bench and not being able to help her team. She wants to be out on the court. She says, I want to win. We want to win. We want to get a win tonight.
Doyle, off target. Rebound, Royster. Pick and pop, Wise off the shot fake. Yes! Indiana's first lead.
And Wise lost civilian with that little crossover dribble to free herself up some space. Remember, Gustafson is on the bench with the 4 fouls she picked up when the freshman Berger drove aggressively at the rim.
So who will create for Iowa? Shot clock winding down. Doyle a deep one. Rebound, Stewart.
And a chance off that offensive rebound from Stewart to just catch their breath a little bit.
How about Berger getting right up on Davis?
And very aggressive.
Davis with a silencer.
Picked her way through the defense. Showed some good poise that time.
Saw Gustafson still sidelined. Mackenzie Meyer is getting set to come back in. Dig down on Royster, who cocks it up. Doyle has been so good defensively in the second half.
She's caused problems at the top of that zone, but there she digs down and forces a turnover.
A double team on Stewart, and she turns it over. Indiana with numbers, and a foul on the floor before the shot on Amanda Olinger.
A big second half comeback for the Hoosiers. It's been the three-point shooting, and Brenna Wise knocking down the big one to give Indiana their first lead of the game. Indiana red hot here in the second half.
Roars back. We'll get you back to Assembly Hall for the finish between the Hoosiers and Hawkeyes in just a bit. First, Rick Pizzo in the BTN studio reminding you, when they're done in B-Town, keep it here for the big show. Sean Morris joins me. Men's highlights from the Twin Cities, where Minnesota played host to Michigan. Purdue sharpshooter Ryan Klein joins the show. And wait until you see the comeback put together by Maryland to beat Minnesota. All that on the big show. But first, back to Mike and Brenda.
Thanks, Rick. Yeah, a big lead that Maryland was able to come back and get a win, and then Iowa had a 16-point lead here on Indiana, but the Hoosiers have come back in this second half in a huge game, trying to snap their 4-game losing skid and trying to add a marquee win to a resume that right now, according to Charlie Cream, has Indiana as the first team out this week of his bracketology.
Well, they've got some great wins. 4 wins over top 50 RPI teams, but they've got some bad losses as well, and all of that factors in. But as important as all those factors is how you finish. And if Indiana can come through and get an upset here of number 10 Iowa, it would go a long way to polishing up that resume, that NCAA tournament resume.
Terry Morin has said we are starving for a victory. Jim Royster splits at the line, and we are even at 63.
Gustafson's back in with the 4 fouls.
Meyer looking for Gustafson, who's got Marchese on him. Davis with a step. No. Wise to the loose ball.
Megan Gustafson didn't have a touch. The guards kept it on the perimeter, moved it back and forth. I didn't think reversed it quickly enough, and they didn't look to get Gustafson a touch.
Berger has played big minutes over Benduyeni in the second half. She finds Marchese.
Backside of that zone didn't drop down. Gustafson had to come over and help.
Gustafson scores so quickly.
That's how quickly she can get back, but she knew she needed to, as she kind of lost track of where Marchese was behind her. But I do think that was the backside forward that needed to slide down and help out.
Berg steps into a 3. Gets it to go.
Really well executed play by Indiana, as they had 2 screeners on the backside of that zone to give Pat Berg that look.
Pat Berg had never hit more than 3 3-pointers in a game. She's got 6 tonight.
She was so hungry to get back on the floor after that injury.
Gustafson with a response.
Indiana had such nice execution on that last pass, or that last play, as they moved the basketball and screened the side of the zone.
Yeah, sort of flared Pat Berg 3. She wants the ball here with the shot clock below 10. Instead, it's Penn. With 2 to shoot, Penn falling away.
Used the entire shot clock, got a nice look at a jumper. Time should be no panic from Iowa, but Indiana, with the second half that they've had, have the momentum. You need a strong possession here to push it out to a 2-possession game.
Wise from the elbow. No. Lisa Bluder wants a timeout. She is on the court and finally granted the timeout.
She had been giving the signal for quite some time, and nobody paid attention to her as she stepped over in front of the official to call the timeout.
Well, this was Jalen Penn at the end of the shot clock, like you said.
Well, she was able to take it down the left side. Mackenzie Meyer was extended out on the wing, and so Penn went around Davis up over Gustafson with the 4 fouls. What a big shot. Then Iowa came down, and I didn't think they needed a 3, but Tania Davis had an open look at one. Gustafson had set a screen for her, couldn't knock it down to tie it. Now, as Iowa comes out here with less than a minute, They don't need a three. They need a sure shot. You would think getting it into the hands of Gustafson, either letting her go to work or finding the open player out of the double or triple team will be what they'll do here.
This team has talked about wanting to win the Big Ten championship. And after Maryland survived at home, can Iowa do the same on the road?
Gustafson being front and back. And a quick shot from the corner for Iowa.
They haven't hit a three in this half. Davis wraps up Patberg, who is a 79% free throw shooter.
Gustafson has not had touches in 3 critical possessions here under the 2-minute mark. Indiana had somebody in front of her and behind her when the ball was at the top in the wing. But when it went to the baseline, the low player in the zone came out and Gustafson was available.
That was the first free throw Ali Patberg has taken since the shoulder injury just over 2 weeks ago.
More importantly in this situation, making it a 2-possession game. Lisa Bluder able to call the timeout before Stewart turns to outlet it so that she can advance it to the front court. Iowa choosing to inbound it on the opposite side of their bench. I thought they had, as I mentioned, I thought they had Gustafson available on the last play. When they moved it to the baseline, the low defender came out. Gustafson was available. They chose to take the three-point shot instead.
Our game reset tells us that Iowa still has 1 timeout left after that one from Lisa Bluder, and all fouls the rest of the way will result in free throws. So you're saying it's got to go to Gustafson, no matter how Indiana defends it, 1 in front, 1 in back, get her a touch.
I would get her a touch and let her make a decision. And if there are so many players around Gustafson, then somebody is open and that player should score.
Marchese on Gustafson. 1-on-1. Gustafson and the foul.
There is the leading scorer in the Big Ten, the leading scorer in the nation, getting a touch and just turning and powering through. That's a tough situation for Marchese to be in because that's an aggressive move by Gustafson. Could it have been an offensive foul? She turns and puts a shoulder into it, but that's not good legal guarding position by Marchese, so the foul's on her.
1-point game, 33 seconds left. And Teri Moren takes one of her 3 remaining timeouts. You were calling for it for the last few possessions, and they do get it into Gustafson eventually.
Yeah, I thought there were 3 possessions under the 2-minute mark that Iowa had that Gustafson did not touch the basketball at all. And they didn't get scores on any of those possessions, at least to have her touch the ball. If she's surrounded, then she can make the decision to find somebody else. But when you have a player that is as sure-handed, a 70% scorer, someone that scores at the clip that Megan Gustafson does, you want the ball in her hands to make those decisions.
Midway through the third quarter, it was an Iowa lead of 16 points. And there's been some excellent three-point shooting from Indiana to get back into this. For Teri Moren's team, so desperate for a win.
Remember, Gustafson has 4 fouls.
Penn is fouled. She's a 75% free throw shooter.
So a good quick foul by Doyle, right? Because you want to go for the steal if you can in that situation, but you don't want Indiana to run out the clock for the rest of the game. So try to go for a steal if you can't get it. The quick foul so Iowa has time on the other end.
Jalen Penn has been playing on a bum ankle all season, and it really affected her free throw shooting earlier in the year, but it has picked up. 3-point game, 30 left. Davis off the shot pick. Davis for the top.
What a play made by Davis. The screen was set by Gustafson, trying to decoy and distract the defense.
Indiana elects not to use its timeouts. Yaney down the lane. Oh!
Iowa ties up the game on the dribble penetration by Doyle, kicking back to Davis. Ties it up, and Terry Morin elects not to call a timeout. The tying shot right there, and then on the other end, no timeout for Indiana. Yaney takes it right at Gustafson, the floater. Yaney only with 2 points the entire game. What a gutsy play into the teeth of the defense, right over Gustafson to go ahead by 2.
Bendu Yaney had hardly come off the floor the last 2 games. She had hardly been on the floor in this second half until that shot.
She had not been the scoring option for Indiana. They've gotten so many scores from Pat Bird. Wise has been scoring well. Jalen Penn had that big shot on the baseline as the shot clock wound down. And now it's Yaney contributing.
But did they leave too much time? 3.8 left for Iowa.
Is there any doubt that Iowa will try to go to Megan Gustafson to score here?
They talked this week about not stubbing their toe, as they said, in the final few games of the regular season with the Big Ten championship in front of them. 3.8 left. Into Davis. Davis blocked. That's it. Indiana knocks off Iowa.
What a stop for the Indiana defense. The shot from Davis was blocked. Gustafson tried to catch it in midair and throw it up toward the basket. The Iowa bench saying, was she fouled? But Indiana pulls off the comeback and the victory over the number 10th ranked team in the country.
With a court storming to boot. Let's have another look. The inbound to Davis, who had tied it with the 3. Yaney, the winning bucket, got a piece of it. The Iowa bench wanted a foul on Marchese as Gustafson went for the loose ball. But that is it here in Bloomington. Davis had created the space from Penn, but Yaney came off of Doyle. Left side of the screen, the Iowa bench reaction, pointing at where Gustafson had tried to match up with Marchese. And Bendu Yaney is standing by with Brenda.
What a comeback for Indiana tonight. Take us through that last play.
I mean, that's the play to get to the rim, and they wanted me to get to the rim, and I'm one of the best on our team to get to the rim, so they put the ball in my hands, and they trusted me, and I delivered for them.
As you came around the corner with the ball and you saw Gustafson back there on the back line and the defense that was in front of you, what opportunity did you think you had?
I knew that she didn't want to foul because she had 4 fouls, so I tried to just float it her, and then I hope that it went in, and it went in. I practice floaters every single day, and today it helped.
Well, you came out, and Iowa was red hot in the first quarter, and then you just slowly chipped away. What did it take for you to come back in this game?
We just got to keep believing. That's what we said at the beginning of the game, is to keep believing, because we knew it was going to be a tough game, and that's all we did was we were going to fight, and we're going to keep believing, and that's what got us this win.
What does a win like this do for your program and your team right now?
It helps us a lot, and it builds confidence now we're going into our next 2 games.
Congratulations. Go enjoy with your teammates.
Bendu Yaney, she who practices the floaters, gets it done for Terry Morin and the Hoosiers. 75-73, and Iowa goes down after Maryland survived on a buzzer beater. Yaney the winner down the lane. That's it from Bloomington. For Brenda Van Lang and our producer, Jeff Sermon, our director, J.W. Sidlecki, our engineer, Randy Wise, Mike Monaco saying so long from Assembly.